If a woman has sex outside of marriage or is raped and becomes pregnant, she can be stoned for adultery because the pregnancy is proved.
Clearly, she's a hypocrite.
Listen, you are not telling the truth.
Got away with it.
Women get raped on the streets of UK all the time.
There is no Western homosexuality and Qatari homosexuality or being a woman in the UK versus being a woman in Iran or Qatar. This is not about Western versus Eastern because there are many women, many gay people who live in Qatar, who live in Iran, who live in Saudi Arabia. They want that dignity here and now. But the fact is the fact is, sorry, don't talk over me. I know you're used to doing that, but don't do it.
Just talking.
No, I haven't finished. Sports is meant to go beyond all of that, but we can also use sports as a way of bringing human rights up for everyone, respecting human rights up for everyone. And I think that is a job of FIFA, that is a job of the World Cup.
Human rights, which she supports, ostensibly, as she claims, a Western definition of it, is about the right to choose to dress. And yet she is the person who said a couple of years ago that she would ban the burqa. And she said that I think every secularist and women's rights defender should support a burqa and niqab ban. So clearly, she's a hypocrite when it comes to Muslims choosing what they want to wear because she feels that Muslim women making that choice is somehow subjugating themselves, and she knows better. She can tell Muslim women what to do. They can't tell themselves what to do. So you are a hypocrite, madam.
Stop pointing your finger at me.
Why not?
I mean, the point is, look, of course, women have the right to veil. Everyone has the right to clothing. The point of the burqa is that it's a body bag on women. If men are so offended by women's hair and bodies, there are these masks that they put on donkeys so that their eyes will be covered. Men are free to wear those if they are so offended by women's hair and bodies. The point is that in countries under Islamic law, women don't have that right to unveil. They're imprisoned. As we know in Iran, Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman, was recently killed because a few strands of her hair were showing. The difference is, though, with the burqa, it is a female body bag. It is a fabric erasure of women from the public space.
And also it reduces women to sexual objects because men must desire them, and it also reduces men to being the kind of people that can't control themselves around women.
And a nudist might make the same argument. A nudist might say that all those clothes you're wearing are body bags, which are sexualizing the human being, and only if we embrace nudism, and everyone should be deprived of the right to wear clothes, to protect them from subjugation, then they can be liberated and desexualized. So that same silly argument you made, and then a nudist could sit here, probably hopefully with clothes on, and make the same argument against you guys, that you're all wearing body bags and all kinds of clothes. So this is ridiculous. Why can't women choose? Why can't women choose to wear the niqab? Why do you support the ban,
I think that's
Maria?
Okay, so I think that's an interesting question. But aren't we all saying, well, it sounds like we're all saying, pro-choice? We want the women to have the choice. The issue is when they don't have the choice.
No, Amelia is highlighting her double standards and hypocrisy. She says
it's not because
rights about people having the right to choose what to dress, except Muslim women who want to wear niqab and have you. Maybe they feel more protected.
She's just said 3 times.
My family is. I have a family who are Muslim. Some in my family are veiled. This is not the point. If men who promoted the burqa and niqab actually wore that, they wouldn't be as supportive of it. And also, the burqa and niqab are very much an Islamist flag, which is why they are so supportive of it. And therefore, calling for a ban is actually in line with defending women's rights and human rights.
So I could say that society has a right to public decency, and therefore public displays of sex or sexual affection, more than just holding the hand, should be banned to protect people's right to public decency. I can turn that argument right back against you. You see, anyone can make the argument that of banning anything because of I'm going to insert right here, and then that means I have to ban a whole bunch of things. So give me a justified basis by which Islamic rights, it makes sense, don't make sense, and Western rights is somehow rational, even though, and not just an imposition.
Am I right in thinking that sometimes women get stoned in the streets in some of these countries?
Yes.
Where's the decency? Where's the public decency there? Where's the...
In fact, in Qatar, just 6 weeks ago, a female university student was stoned to death in a so-called honour killing by her family because she didn't follow the strict way in which women are supposed to behave.
Abdullah,
Stoned to death.
Does that
Stoned to death.
law exist? Does that law exist?
Not in Qatar. And that is...
So it didn't happen.
and it is...
And it was not investigated by the Qatari authorities. The murderers got away with it.
Women get raped on the streets of UK all the time.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Murdered and raped. Should I now put that as an indictment against the West or indictment against Britain? You
problem
see?
is having
That's what you're doing. You're saying some
Islamists-
criminals in the Muslim world do something bad. This must mean all Muslims are bad or Islam is
No,
bad.
it's not
And yet your criminals do not represent your own state.
I think
Again, hypocrisy
let's
and
run
double
through-
standards. Let's have a real conversation about Islam. Let's have a
That
real
woman
conversation about
who
what's
was murdered by her own family in a so-called honour killing, the Qatari authorities have not investigated the murder. They have not brought the perpetrators to justice, even though her murder has been reported to them. And earlier this year, something similar happened to a young gay man taken out into the desert by his family, beheaded and buried in a shallow grave. The Qatari authorities did nothing to investigate his murder either, even though they were informed about it.
There was a lot of words to say, I condemn women being stoned in any country. So I'm waiting for that.
Okay, so
No, wait, he's got to explain
excuse me,
it.
can I answer that? You like
Go ahead,
you,
yes, please
you really
do.
love
You've
you really
had
have
5
cutting
minutes
in.
to answer.
You really
I'm
have
still
cutting
not
in.
answering.
You really have cutting in. All right.
Answer.
The from the Islamic perspective, Islamic law, there's prohibitions on adultery. Okay. If it's public adultery, which is virtually impossible to prove, it's more of a symbolic law, and because it's impossible to prove. The law is meant to scare people from being adulterous. And why do we? And it applies to both men and women, not to just women. Why do we only care if it only applies to women? It applies to men and women, right? Adulterers in Islamic law, from classical Islamic law, when they make their adultery public, which is it's virtually impossible. Yes, that you know that's impossible.
It's
Now
also
you are lying
based
about
on
Islamic
it's
law.
also based on confession. You know that. Listen, you
Yeah,
are not telling the truth.
So if someone
you are
wants
not
to,
telling the truth because you
let me
think
finish.
you can
So
talk
if someone
nonsense.
if someone wants to come and say, I'm an adulterer, stone me.
Yes, because
you
if a
saying that
woman
this-
is
you're
raped,
saying
if a
that was-
woman has sex outside of marriage or is raped and becomes pregnant, she can be stoned for adultery because
No,
the pregnancy
no,
is proof.
there has to
Second
be
of all,
no-
if there are witnesses, that is proof.
Okay, but
So you are lying.
Wait.
Is stoning
Let me-
part of Islamic
wait,
law?
you
Didn't
need-
Muhammad
Again,
say
she's
in a
speaking
hadith?
over me again,
Didn't
right?
Muhammad say in a hadith?
Okay, look, I
that
know you have an
stoning is
axe to grind
permissible?
because you're ex-Muslim. I'm ex-Christian, but I've got over it.
Abdullah, we would settle this much quicker.
Just say you don't agree with stoning.
If you just answer the question, if you agree with stoning, that's your view and you're entitled to it. But give us a solid answer.
It's not my view.
You
I'm
can't
only
say.
reporting Islamic law, which states that adulterers are executed if they make their adultery public.
Okay, and do you condemn the stoning of Islamic women, or men even, who make that public in the way in which you've described?
Are you telling me that do I condemn Islamic law?
Do you condemn people being
Well,
stoned?
that's what he's saying. He can't because
Yes
it's
or no? That's a yes or no
Wait a
question.
second. Why is it relevant what I?
Because you're here talking about
I'm telling you
this.
what
You
Islamic
spent
law
the last
says.
half an hour defending tyranny. That's what
Yes,
you've been doing.
yes.
Not really.
Yes. So
Because who says you have a right to commit adultery and cheat on your partner?
Who says you can
says you
stone
do?
someone to death
you do
because they have
know.
sex outside of marriage?
The state has
Do
the
you understand that?
State has the monopoly.
How dare you?
State
How dare you say that
states
someone
have the
should be
monopoly.
stoned
In
because
America,
they have
you
sex outside of
you have
marriage?
execution
How
laws
dare
in
you?
America.
I don't agree
You
with
have
executions
execution
in the
laws in
US. I
America.
don't agree with executions anywhere. But you
Well,
will accept
and
executions
yet it exists.
if your
Okay,
Islamic
okay,
law does it.
okay,
How dare
okay,
you?
okay.
You should be ashamed of
I'm
yourself.
just glad we got there. I'm glad we got there.
Finally.
You endorse it. I'm glad we got there.
I think it's sometimes what's not said that's most powerful. You said homosexuality isn't illegal in Qatar, but under the Qatari Penal Code,
Yep.
2004, same-sex
Yep.
activity is punishable by up to 7 years in prison. And
No,
1 to 3
it's by up to
years-
3. It's between 1 to 3 years, and it's
So that's for sodomy, then?
For sodomy,
That's 1
and
to
it's
3
no
for
different
sodomy.
to fornication
Is
between
1 to
opposite
3
sex.
okay? For
So
sex,
that
is
means
1 to
that
3 years
that
okay?
means
I
that
think
straight
it's
straight
not
couples
Okay.
and same-sex couples get the same punishment.
Is even
Equal-
5
equal
minutes
rights in
okay?
Qatar. You get
Is
equal
even
rights in
5
Qatar,
minutes in prison
basically.
okay?
No,
How about
no,
10
no, no.
minutes? How about, oh no, it's actually 2 months and 3 days. The point is, you
You don't
cannot
have a basis to
criminalize.
condemn them. Apart from
cannot
just your
criminal-
umbrage and, oh, this is against the Western
do,
values that I've
you
learned and
do.
imbibed. I'm sorry, you need a better argument than simply say, oh, look at this Muslim who won't condemn his own religion. I'm sorry.
Nobody's
I'm
asking
not
you to-
I'm not
That's the
ashamed of
point.
my belief system.
Exactly.
We have a reason why we believe in God.
Exactly.
We have a reason why that we believe that good and bad is determined by the creator.
You have a right to believe
So you
it.
have to. So you can criticize if you don't like
No,
it.
you can believe what you
produce
want.
an argument, but don't just simply say that Shibboleth questions: do you condemn your religion or
have
not?
free
And,
will.
and whatever your religion is. Whatever your choice is, we're going to judge you on
You have
it.
free
No,
will. You have
give
free
me an
will.
argument.
You are
Give me an
making a
argument.
decision to believe in that stuff. You have free will.
And
to
you
say,
have free will to believe in Western human rights, and not.
But also the difference is.
I wish
though-
you could just justify it.
But the
please.
difference is
we
that if I don't like, now it's not a perfect system, I grant it, but if I don't like some of the human rights in this country, unlike Qatar, which is not democratic, I can say, right, well, okay, I get power once every 4 or 5 years. I can vote out.
Good luck in the party system getting power.
Well,
anyway,
it's
yeah.
better than nothing. It's better than there being this municipal council in
But
Qatar
can I-
that advises the
Do you know
royal
what? Do you know
family,
what?
which
Can
has
I
been a
just make a point?
dictatorship
With
for
democracy
over many
is, though. You
years.
know the problem with.
I'm sorry, there's a problem with democracy.
Yes, there is.
Oh yes, yes.
Yes.
The majority that gives you rights are the same majority that can take away your rights.
Oh, well, let's get rid of it then.
Can I just
no,
make a
no,
point?
no.
Last
That's
point,
why
no,
England
can
is
I
a
just-
democracy.
can I just
England
make
is
a
not a
point?
democracy.
Last point, I actually agree with you there.
I think
Last point before
what's
we move on.
important to acknowledge and understand is the fact that we can all have whatever beliefs we want. That is not the issue. That is not the issue. We are not discussing that. People have a right to be Muslim. They have a right to be Satanist. They have a right to be, political views, religious views, non-religious views. That is a fundamental human right. The point that we're making here today is about Qatar, and that when those laws, when those beliefs, in any sort of beliefs become part of the law and the state, we have to recognize the fact that not everyone has those beliefs, because the reality is that even for many Muslims, the laws against homosexuals is intolerable because there are many gay people who live in countries under Islamic rule. The law of stoning is considered intolerable. And there are lots of people fighting against these laws in the Middle East, in North Africa, in South Asia, against religion in political power. That's the point we're making. So people can have whatever the beliefs they want, but they cannot shove those beliefs down people's throats in the law
I wish you
via
took your
the
advice,
state.
Mariam.
And also, listen, you are defending
I wish you took
killing
your
people,
advice.
so don't you dare tell me I take my advice. You have sat there
You want to ban
defending.
niqabs,
You have
want to ban the
defended.
burqa,
Listen,
and you dare
defend
Muslims-
stoning of women
tell-
and men to death.
tell Muslims
how
about
dare
rights,
you
please.
even speak
Please.
to any? How dare you even speak
Please.
about
It's when the state
rights?
the point she's
You are
making is when the
defending
state
states.
endorses
You are
those
defending
rights.
that. You are an
There is no
Islamist
state in this
that
country, there's no
defends the
state in this world
murder.
that does not endorse a particular moral worldview to base its laws
But
upon.
then there is the democratic
Okay.
right to try and change.
I'm gonna,
You're a
we're going to
liar
move on. We're going to
and
move
you're
on.
just
We're
who
going to move on
decides?
from
That's
this.
the
It's
only
very
question.